everybody, welcome back to the Flipside. I'm Sam.
I'm JT.
And this is our top 5
set collection.
Why do I always forget that?
I don't know.
It's like this is our top 5 blank. If you came over here from the Dice Tower, welcome. We just got through doing our bottom 5, that is numbers 10 through 6, over on the Dice Tower, and now we're going to do numbers 5 through 1, our top 5 set collection games right here, right now. Now, if you watch that other list, you'll know that JT probably has a little bit of PTSD after making this list because he just could not wrap his head around it.
I could not.
Maybe
Crazy
we'll
enough.
see if that fleshes out a little bit better on our top 5.
We shall see.
Yeah.
Once you get done with this one, if you haven't watched the other one, go watch it because it was quite a little bit of fun.
Yep, absolutely was. My average weight for my numbers 1 through 10 was a 2.0.
My average weight was a 2.42.
He did have a monster on the last list, which
probably
skewed
it
that.
Probably skewed
a lot.
that quite a bit.
My lightest one was a 1.66. That will be on this list, and my heaviest was a 2.7.
My heaviest was a 3.7, and my second heaviest was on that list too. If it's my top 5 you're talking about, my average is probably about a 2.2. Pretty much 2.2.
2.2
would be about my average right now on the top 5.
Actually, that might be for mine as well. Ooh, I think I have one that you're going to like.
Sweet.
That actually fits your criteria.
Woo! For those of you that haven't watched the other list, I had a really hard time wrapping my brain. I like these lists that he gives me because it makes me think, and I don't always think about them. But when I think of a mechanic, a set collection, he's like, we want a game with this mechanic. We want a game with set collection as a mechanic. I think about an in-game mechanic, not an end-game scoring mechanic. I think about a mechanic you use within the game to do things, to do actions, to do. So I came to find out that set collection, that just doesn't happen very often, at least in the games that I've played. So I'm very curious, when you guys get done, put in the comments all the games that have really good set collection in the game that is actually useful for gameplay purposes and not just points. So just very interesting to me.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see. All right. Well, here it goes. Our top 5 set collection games. Let's hit it. All right, my number 5, you're probably going to have some problems with.
I'm all right. They're great games.
The more I think about it, I was like, I don't know about this. This seems more like just resource gathering.
Now, resource gathering, that is not set collection, people. I'm sorry. I'm sorry,
But what
Sam.
if you have to?
You have
to collect certain combinations.
Well, that means Stone Age is a set collection game because I have to collect wood to spend it on things.
It is.
No,
it was on the list. It's in the database. It is a set collection game. That is a mechanism that is employed within Stone Age. You have to collect a certain
number of pieces
kind
of wood
of
to spend.
yeah, exactly.
No, I can't do it, man.
Well, First Rat is my number 5.
I saw this on the list.
That's
called resource collection.
Well, it's sets, and you have to use those sets during the game.
Yep, during the game.
To build certain things that are going to score you points, but you have to use them during the game.
I'm going to go into BGG, and every game that you need resources for, I'm putting set collection. Do it. Somebody needs to go amend all of BGG.
They may have already done that.
They might have already done that.
I really enjoy First Rat. This is a 2.27 as far as complexity is concerned. Out of 5, by the way. That's what those complexity ratings are. They're out of 5. And you know, you really you do have to hold your tongue just right and squint your eyes and see it for the set collection aspect. But I get it.
It's a great game, so who cares?
I really enjoy the game. It does have, in my opinion, a set collection feel, and it's one where you're using those sets during the course of the game to do other things. You know, sometimes it doesn't feel like set collection. Sometimes it will just be, well, I'm just collecting resources. But I think it fits. I do. So
I think every game on your shelf has set collection in it at that point. But it's a good game.
Guarantee you, Memoir 44 is not a set collection game.
Why? You're collecting cards for these lanes to use as resources.
I'm not collecting anything.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not collecting anything.
Fair. All right, you're collecting tanks. All right, my number 5, with all fairness and due whatever process and all that good things a game should deserve, is a good set collection game.
Okay.
And that is Nidavellir. In Nidavellir, you're collecting sets of dwarfs, obviously for multiple scoring purposes, and really that's the end goal.
Yep.
But during the game, as you're collecting these sets and you're collecting all of these different dwarfs, you are also using those to not purchase, but to gain these special dwarfs, the leaders or whatever they call them.
Yep.
So you're gaining those to then go into your sets. So kind of like what you said with one of your games and the other one, I shouldn't spoil it, but what you're doing with the sets during the game also affect what you're getting, and I really like that. And it may be a little bit of a stretch because most of it's just end game scoring as well.
Yep.
But you do get to use those as you go, and thinking through how you pick up the sets and which dwarfs to get so that you can gain those bonus dwarves is really important. So Nidavellir is a fantastic game.
I agree.
And has a ton of set collecting in it, no matter how you put it. So
I agree. Yep. It made my short list. It didn't make my list.
Oh, wow. I was pretty sure this was on your list.
Yeah, it would have been, but there's other things that I just felt were...
All right. Well, that was my number 5, Nidavellir.
Number 5. Good pick. All right, my number 4 is a 1.74 complexity. And
Go fish.
It is called Trekking Through History. And this is one where you are definitely collecting different sets that are going to help you do things in the game, which then help you when you collect those different tokens. You have to put them onto your, I can't remember what they call them. Your schemata or whatever it is.
Yep.
And as you're collecting them in these different orders, you're able to score different points throughout the course of the game. But it's also helping you collect more of these cards and put them in order. It's kind of like a glorified Racco kind of game where you're trying to visit these different times throughout history.
Yep.
But they have to be in numerical order from longest to go to most recent. And I just thought that the set collection part of it inside was something that, of course, helps you score points, but it's not all at the end of the game. It's things that help you during the course of the game do different things, and I thought that was a neat little twist to the set collection aspect of it. So that is Trekking Through History, my number 4.
Man, you're number 4. Man, I thought we were going to have 4 crossovers. I'm not so sure.
Well, there better be 2.
All right.
If they're not 2, who are you, and what did you do, JT?
Well, my number 4 is not on your list because it's too much set collection for you. No, I'm just kidding.
Wow! Holy Moses!
My number 4 is a game that you abhor, at least for the look of the game, and that is a game called Ethnos. In Ethnos, you are collecting sets of cards with different leaders so that you can play them down, so you can take this area control on the board. And then that area control becomes the scoring mechanism as you go on. The interesting thing about Ethnos is when you decide to play down your set, all the rest of the cards in your hand go into an open market, basically, that anybody can steal from. So it becomes very, like, if you wait too long, you're giving away a lot of cards that a lot of people can use. So, but yes, you're collecting those sets so that you can use them for area control on the board, and you need bigger and bigger and bigger sets to get more and more area control in one location so that you can get those points. But that is my number 4 is Ethnos.
That's a good one.
I really like this game.
A lot of people like that game. A lot of people like that game, and really,
I would love to have a beautiful copy of this game. And I know they came out with a new version. That wasn't a new version. The Archaeo Society changed the mechanisms too much for me. I just want Ethnos in a beautiful version, and I'd be happy.
That's cool. All right. Good pick. My number 3 is our first crossover. 1.66 is the complexity. The Sheriff of Nottingham.
Indeed.
Very good game. Every single reason that JT gave earlier in our other list, because that's what it's a crossover with, is absolutely true. It is a game where you should, as we said over there, you should be role-playing in this game. If you're not role-playing in this game, you're not playing the game correctly. And I know that's kind of a highbrow thing to say.
You're missing out on a quarter of it.
You're missing out on part of
it. Yeah.
You're missing out on some of the fun. That's all we mean by that. Because it's something where you can really lean into the theme and have a ton of fun with it. If you just go at it from a mechanical mindset, it's probably going to be lackluster for you, because literally all you're doing is you're trying to get some goods through the sheriff, whomever that might be at the given time, and have them not check your bag, or have them check your bag and find out that you were not actually lying to them, and then they have to pay you a whole bunch of money. That's all you're really trying to do. You're trying to either lie to get some contraband through, or you're just basically trying to get them to pay you a lot of money because you're not lying. And either way is an absolute valid way to try to win. You can win. I've seen people do it, not lying at all.
One of my sisters is such a sweetheart, but she would get so confused on whether she should check the bag or not. She's like the nicest person. And then she'd be like, well, I better check the bag. And then everybody would give her the right stuff that's in. Next thing you know, she just paid out all of her money. She's just like, I don't like this.
I don't like this game. Yep. It's a great, fun game, though. You really have to lean into the theme to really get the full oomph of it. But this is a great game. I really enjoy it. That is my number 3, the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Very nice. First crossover. All right. My number 3 has a nice multi-tiered set collection, as I would say, and it's not even the scoring mechanic. So, woohoo! No, I'm just kidding. That's so funny. What a good list. My number 3 is Abyss. In Abyss, you're collecting groups of different colored cards, reds and blues and purples and greens, so that you can buy these lords that have keys on them, and they have special abilities. And then once you get these underwater lords, once you get 3 of them, you can spend them and their keys to get a land, which then has another ability on it. And basically, once you get 7 lords, the game is over. Somebody gets 7 lords. But
and if they're leaping.
That's right, leaping lords of underwater.
7 lords of leaping.
It's hard to do underwater.
It is.
It's hard to do underwater. But yeah, this is a great game. You're collecting these groups of cards so that you can spend them on those lords, and then you're collecting the lords so you can buy the lands and then score it away. So, beautiful cover, beautiful artwork, and I like this game a lot.
I agree. It's a good one. I just don't play this game enough to have it pop up on my radar for a top 10. That's all.
Yep, fair.
But I've enjoyed it. It's a good game.
All right, my number 3 is Abyss.
All right, my number 2 is a set collection game that has a whole lot of other things going on in it, but you're trying to collect sets of different kinds of production elements so that you can put on the best show in the Coliseum. And that is what this game is, a Coliseum. Now, there's a number of different ways that you can collect these different sets of things that you need to put on this show. But the cool thing about this is that once you've put on that show, you can go back and do that show again, but it's not going to score you any more points. You have to go back and put on a bigger show, and that will score you more points. So if this one scored you, 10 points, you can do it again, and you can get some of the benefits of doing it, but it's not going to score you any more points. You have to put on a bigger show that's going to score you 14 points now, and you score. And I really enjoy this game. Really, really enjoy this game. There is a great auction mechanism that's in there. There's a great, I can't believe I'm saying this, but there's a great little roll and move mechanism where you're moving the senators around the board and you're trying to get him to land in, you're trying to get the Emperor to land in your spot, that's really kind of where you're going to score the most
in your
points.
box, huh?
Yeah, and you can actually, some of the upgrades that you can buy for your Colosseum is you make your Colosseum bigger, and the whole reason for you're trying to do that is so that there are more spaces for him to land in your Colosseum. It's a really great game,
cool.
really, really great game, and I've enjoyed it a lot. It's got a great set collection mechanism in it. That is Colosseum, my number 2.
My number 2 is Not Go Fish. It could be, but it's not. My number 2 is an OG game that uses set collection to save the world, and that's called Pandemic. Pandemic, you're collecting...
Kind of figured this was going to be on your list.
This is definitely... you're collecting whatever 4 or 5 cards, depending on what your character is. Mostly 5 cards of the same color, so that you can get the cure for these diseases that you're running around and trying to stop from spreading around the world. And that set collection really is between set collection to cure them and running around and maintaining them and taking care of them across the world. That's really where it all is. So Pandemic is a great game. Stood the test of time. It's got 1,000 versions, not 1,000 versions, but it's got a dozen plus versions. It's got a bunch of versions, and they all use that mechanic. Yep. So in some way, shape, or form. So
it's
my number 2 is Pandemic.
Yep. I knew it was probably going to show up on your list because I know you like it so much. I just don't know that I like Pandemic enough for it to be on my top 10.
Sure.
But, because
you could replace one of those games that doesn't have any set collection mechanics in it.
This guy right here, this guy. I'd rather play a Pandemic Legacy game or one of the other kind of thematically rich.
Did I tell you we finished 0?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, after you started it again without it. You jerk.
So that I could finish it.
My number 1. This is another card game that is set collection, and it is called NAR. You are collecting different crew members, and then you have to use those crew members to go on journeys, and it's the journeys that score you the points. So this is one of those things that fits your definition.
It does.
Of set collection within the game that doesn't directly score you points. It indirectly scores you points.
It does, and I didn't put it on my list because I didn't feel like it did it, and then you explained it, and then probably does. Yes. Yes. So this is my number 11.
So the different crew members that you are collecting into your crew are from different colors. And when you play a new color into the same column, it's going to fire off all of the things that it gives you. And sometimes that's more points. Sometimes that's more recruiting power. Sometimes it's more merchant power or something to that effect. And that's one of the ways that you are playing into this set collection thing, because the deeper that column, that colors column goes, the more things you're going to be able to produce if you keep adding things to it. But there's another part of the set collection, and that is the 2 types of journeys that are out there. You have to use those combinations of crew members to go on those different journeys, and that's what's going to score you the bulk of your points. So this was a game that I immediately thought of when we were going to do a set collection list. So my number 1, NAR.
That's a good call. For all of you guys that watch this video, then go watch the other one. You can replace my number 6 with this one because it has more solid set collection than that one does.
There you
during
go.
The game.
There you go. Asterisk,
there you go.
baby.
Right in the number 6 slot. I can do that. It's my list. All right. My number 1 is a crossover, and it is the second time it's hit number 1 on one of these lists, which is unfortunate maybe because I love it so much, and I'm just so happy it's out. And playable,
Yeah,
and that's
I know
Comic
it.
Hunters.
I knew it.
Comic Hunters is on my list because that's exactly what you're doing. You are collecting sets of comic books from all different types of shops and stuff like that, from swap meets and everything else, and then you're bringing those comic books home, and although I don't know thematically how it works, you're selling comic books to get comic books to land in your sets, but you're having to pay for them as well with your sets. But regardless, you are collecting these sets of comic books, and for multiple reasons, for maybe because they're first editions, or maybe because they're Black Widows, or whatever else.
Yep.
But that is the whole goal of the game, is to draft and collect these sets of comic books. And
Agreed.
I know it doesn't quite fit my definition, but like I said, I had a difficult time with this, and I might as well put a really darn good game at the top. So.
That's right. Really darn good game. That is true. I absolutely agree. There's just so, man. I hate to just kick a dead horse, but there's
the components are components.
Printing mistakes on the board. There's rules mistakes in the rule book. There's just.
It's whether or not the game is fun to play.
It is very fun to play. Yes. Absolutely fun to play, and that's really the whole point of it. You can overlook a lot of the other things.
Yeah. But they had a lot of games in this list, just so we know, that had set collection, like Terraforming Mars is a set collection game, people. I guess you're collecting sets of icons.
Yeah.
Viscounts of the West Kingdom is a set collection game, so you might end up with 3 or 4 or 5 manuscripts at the end, so I guess that makes a set. But, man, it's a lot of stretching.
That's one of the things that I see. For me, if it was a set collection game, it had to heavily rely on set collection.
Yep.
That's what whether it was for scoring or whether it was for something else that's going on in the game, it had to feel like one of the main things you were doing in the game for me.
Sure.
So that was my whole thing. But
I think we fit your criteria at that point, or at least mostly.
I think most of the games for both lists.
Yep, but put down in the comments there all of those really good set collection games
that we missed.
Yep.
That's right, because we know we did. But you'll let us know, and we will interact with you. That is a promise. Thanks for joining us right here on the Flipside. We'll see you guys and gals later on. Take care.
We will see ya.
Have a good day.